the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And as we like to say in this house, big day today, big day. Today, I'm having a garden party to celebrate my 9th sobriety anniversary. So I'm super excited. I even got it catered. I got big trays of food. I'm not having people in here serving. That would be pretty fancy. So I'm pretty excited. It is raining outside, but we'll see. It might clear up just in time for the party. It is a garden party that might be inside, but whatevs. It'll be fun. I'm super excited. So this is you may be thinking, what about your head, Rachel? How are you going to handle that? I don't know. Um, we'll see. I've tried to make it set it up so that I don't have to do anything and I can almost just enjoy it like a guest would. That's why I got the food ordered. Over the past several days, I've been cleaning and setting it up. So it should be low effort, but super fun, is what I'm hoping. Any amount of stimulation triggers my head. So I am certain that I will need to lay down afterwards. But I'm really excited just to have that many people around me at one time. I did actually put a time frame around the party. So it is from 11 to 1. So it's only 2 hours. And typically, when I have folks over, like there was a time period where I was having women's sobriety meetings in my house once a month. And no matter what you plan for, folks like to stay around and talk, which is fun. I mean, I love it. Any other time, I love that. I just can't handle too much. So after a while, I'm just going to sit down, I mean, hopefully most of the time I can just sit down and allow the party to happen. And I think one of the challenges for me is that feeling that I need to entertain everybody. And so what we're doing is crafts. You all know that I love crafts. So I have all these little crafts set out so that what it helps me do is be able to look down on one thing while I'm talking to people. So what I'm hoping, sneakily, that it's going to allow that kind of an atmosphere where we're talking, but it's calm and we're enjoying creativity and not necessarily feeling like I have to look around the room all the time. So I'll fill you in on how it goes. I've got my fingers crossed. If I don't try these things, I'm not going to learn about how to handle these types of scenarios. I would like to be able to start attending things, events. Like about a month ago, I went to a picnic with my husband's family, and we went to, I live near a park, a local park that overlooks the Potomac and stuff. So I went, and normally I would have been walking out to the water and really taking it all in. I mean, that's one great part about being outside in nature is being able to look around and soak it all in. And so I had to restrain myself and really control my eyes, which, if you think about it, if you try it, it's hard. It's really hard because it's not just, okay, don't look around. That sounds easy. No, it's like you can tell if you watch the video for my podcast, while I'm talking, I have a really hard time not moving my eyes around. I'm always like scanning the room. I don't know if you notice when you have a conversation with somebody, there's times like when you're thinking that you may look up. Like if you're thinking really hard, you look up. I used to know this guy that I worked with. He won an executive at the company, and when he was thinking about something, he would look up. Like the answers were written on the ceiling. It was that much. He was so intensely like trying to look up and when he was thinking. It was fascinating to me. But that's the idea of like, depending on what I'm thinking of, what I'm looking at helps me think. And I think a lot of people are like that. So, um, anyway, we're going to control my eye movement today and we're just going to see what happens. So, wish me luck, send a couple prayers my way and if you're into that. And I will take it. I will definitely take it. So, today's topic I wanted to talk about is consistency. I wanted to talk about that feeling when I first got sober and when I reached the point where I needed to leave my job and medically retire, that feeling of reaching the point of no return. Like you feel like you have passed the point of no return. That for my vestibular condition, my stroke recovery, I had felt that I was so damaged and I was in so much pain that life was over as I knew it at that point. And I felt the exact same way, but more internal pain rather than head pain when I needed to get sober. I felt like I had passed the point of no return, that my life was so destroyed, my mental state and my emotions that were just running on high, my anxiety, my depression, all of that, I was so damaged that I felt that there was no no healing that was possible from that. And from my experience, I can see now in retrospect that consistency is more powerful than most anything. It can turn fear into faith. It can turn doubts into confidence. Um, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. And one thing that I know for sure as well is that during that time, during all of these times when I was broken, whether it was physically from my stroke or emotionally and mentally, and what I didn't realize at the time was spiritually, when I was that broken, I couldn't see anything beyond that. You know, when I had that feeling that I had passed the point of no return, I did not believe in anything greater than myself. So even though I had been practicing my sobriety program for 5 years at the time that I had my stroke, um, I, I, I wasn't well practiced in it. It turns out I thought I was, but I had to rely on something more powerful than what I had been relying on in order to get better, to heal. And what I heard somebody say this morning in my morning meeting was, and it resonated with me. He said, I didn't have a powerful faith in a powerful God. And that really hit me. It struck me because I have shared with you guys, I have always wanted to believe in God. I have always wanted to have a faith that gets me through everything. I wanted to have this fear, this ability to depend on something greater than myself in order to get me through any fear, um, get me through any situation that was challenging. Um, I wanted to feel a presence, you know? I, when I'm looking back, feel that there was no presence. I didn't feel a presence when I was feeling those fears and those that deep anxiety. I didn't feel a presence beyond that. And today, and I'm going to be learning this the rest of my life. Today, feel I have a dependency on that, having that presence be there. And what I choose to do is cultivate that feeling of presence. And when I'm feeling fearful, that presence can coexist with fear. Um, and through consistency over the past 4 years since my stroke, the 4 years of cultivating that presence, and that's, I don't know if those are the best choice of words, but that's the best I can come up with. Um, through consistently cultivating that presence, it has created a bridge for me to go from fear to hope, um, from panic to purpose. And I absolutely have felt on multiple occasions, and that's an understatement, panic that and it also could be translated into hopelessness, that feeling of panic that not only is my life not going in the direction or following the path that I had thought that I paved for myself. I don't pave my path. I just point in the direction. And I want a faith, a presence that paves that path for me. So this morning, um, the reading was called Love. What was it called? Sobriety on Love or Sober on Love or something like that. And it was talking. There were a few things that stood out to me, and one was this feeling of impending doom. And I think that is what that panic felt like. It it was fear-based, obviously, but it wasn't based in reality. It this is kind of a hard place where I'm at, thinking about I feel like my mind is kind of contradicting itself right now because that impending doom was not realistic. And this cultivating a presence is something that I can't exactly say because I'm just being honest here that in the beginning, when I was cultivating that feeling of a presence of something higher, greater than myself, it didn't feel realistic to do that, if that makes sense. So today, I have made a choice to go on faith, to continue to be consistent about building that concept of my higher power. And because of that consistency and that decision to go in that direction, I have been diminishing that feeling of impending doom. And the the faith that I have been working on, I feel like is resulting in a feeling of love. And that love of the world around me, my love of everything that I interact with, that I have a role in, is sustaining my sobriety, but it's also keeping that fear at bay. Um, the the feeling of impending doom that I have dealt with my whole life, really. I mean, it is, for me, it's a chemical imbalance that is causing me to have that anxiety and depression. And I take medication for it, but what has really been most effective, I have been starting to believe this wholeheartedly, is that had I done things differently in my life, and I'm not regretful, I'm just thinking through, um, my experience, I guess. Had I done things differently and put down the drink early on and worked the steps of the program, um, and cultivated that feeling of a presence of something greater than me, and began to go down this path of faith and consistency, I believe that I would not have had to go on medication. I think that. I mean, some of you may be thinking, no. I mean, when you've got the chemical imbalance, you've got the chemical imbalance. And that could very well be. But I can't help but think that that chemical imbalance was was cultivated itself, you know? It was created, and I may contradict myself tomorrow, who knows? But these are just ideas that I'm thinking of, is that living in chronic fear and decision fatigue and catastrophic thinking, and then feeding it with alcohol, just feeding it with alcohol, I think is fueling that chemical imbalance. That's what I feel like today. And so I'm going to talk about it today. There is like this evolutionary process of fear, and it results in a fight or flight type action. And mine was almost, it feels like both fight or flight. Like flight would be correlated to me throwing the drink down, but once I threw the drink down, then it made me turn back and try to fight, try to fight what was going on inside of me, at no avail. As soon as I'm drinking, as soon as I flight and drink, then I turn back and try to fight. It's useless. It's a useless fight. So removing the drink, I am able to um I'm able to think reasonably. Um, it's I'm able to, with consistency in choosing a path of faith, convert that fear into curiosity. I mean, how else can I sit here and talk about this stuff? Like, I have a curiosity, which I guess is where that idea of if I had done things differently, maybe I wouldn't have needed medication. I don't care about being on medication. Some people are pretty passionate about, I don't want to be on medication. Um, I have been to that point where you feel like you can't heal past the point of no return. That medication saved my life. It really saved my life. And so I'm not hyper focusing on the idea that I don't want to be on medication or I shouldn't be on medication or medication is a bad thing. I think medication is a great thing. I'm just thinking that with removing the alcohol and doing things this way, instead, it turned that fear into curiosity. Um, Through chaos comes clarity, is something that I shared this morning. And through these really difficult times that I have dealt with, um, be it alcoholism or stroke, um, and even those small bumps in the road, I more and more become unmistakably aware of a power greater than myself. There are things that happen now that make me feel like, I mean, there has to be something greater than myself. There is something else going on around me that I just can't see. I couldn't be, well, I could be more confident in that, but it certainly seems to be the case for me. The more that I lean into it, the more that it seems like it's there. And when I am present and mindful and practicing gratitude. And when I go out in nature and I just take a deep breath, when I when I take the time to be curious, it feels unmistakable that there's something greater than me going on. Call it whatever you want, but I feel like my role in the world around me and in the universe becomes more clear the more that I practice faith. And by that I mean the more consistent I am, the more that I express my gratitude when I notice something unusual that happens or something great that happens, something that makes me happy. And I pause and I say thank you. I've told you guys, I just stop and I look up and I whisper, thank you. And the more that I do that, the more I notice. The more that I go to bed every night and get down on my knees beside my bed and express gratitude for my sobriety, for the willingness to recover, for my body. I'm still doing that. And expressing gratitude for my body has transformed a feeling of kind of like, why me? To, oh, thank goodness that I still have this and I still have that. I still have the ability to do all of these things. I still have, I'm sober, for goodness sakes. I'm sober and I can talk regardless of my stroke. I've been very I've been having my cognitive deficits shining brightly over the past few days. I'm sure it's because I'm planning my party and doing too much, but I can still be grateful. And by consistently thanking God for my body every night as part of my prayer, um, I have been encouraging that ability, that looking more at what I can do than what I can't do. So, consistency will defeat doubt, I think, any day of the week, really. And by consistency, I mean repetitive activities that support recovery. Um, Meetings, journaling, medication if you need medication, prayer, medication and meditation. And then consistency in stroke recovery and vestibular recovery is exercises. And that goes back to that the vestibular disorder. Really, every time I think about it, I think of spoon and cup theory that I have shared with you guys. It's like that consistency of really being self-aware of how many spoons do I have, and is my cup half empty or half full, or totally full or totally empty, consistently being aware of that. It's what keeps me walking at the right pace through my days, through um, the months, through the weeks, through the stuff that I have to do, the stuff that I have on my calendar. I can weigh whether it's no, I need to say no to that. I can say yes to that. I can practice this. I can try to have a party, and see what happens. Like repeating this behavior is strengthening my physical well-being. It's strengthening my, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. It is strengthening my sobriety, and just being in it's not a loop because I'm growing. I'm going somewhere, but it can feel mundane. I talked about sometimes the feeling like we're stuck and we're not going somewhere. So being repetitive in these things should not feel like you're not getting anywhere, you're not growing. What it feels like is putting a penny in your piggy bank every day of your life. That's what it is like. Um, so that's what I've got for you today. So I'm going to end there. I'm going to go get ready for my party. It's in 2.5 hours, and I'm super excited. Cross fingers that it'll stop raining and maybe we can go out on the new deck. And yeah, so have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.